SHIRO Saturn SHIRO!
Hello, welcome to a new edition of SHIRO Show, or the SHIRO Show of the shows, or the SHIRO Live, whatever you want to call it. SHIRO in the house, SHIRO crew, 2 fresh to death crew, whatever. I am Patrick Trinoko, and here, of course, are my guest hosts for today. We'll start with the people on the screen, as you can see. Dan the Mega Driver and James the Segaholic. Welcome to the show.
How you doing?
Hello.
Hanging in there. Oh, I probably should put the chat away over James. He's getting covered by the
You
chat.
can put it behind him.
That's too late. Yeah, just shoot it away. Get away. And then on the mic, we got Danthrax and Saturn Dave.
Hello.
And Emerald Nova. Are you there, Emerald Nova, as well?
He's there, but...
Yeah, he's going to the bathroom. He didn't want to bring the phone to the bathroom, unless he really wanted to. So I'm not gonna judge him for that. But yeah, welcome everybody. Yeah. I honestly I don't know how to start this show. This has been
well, we've got
saying it's been a
Christian
hectic.
Marte.
Huh?
Got Christian Marte in the chat. Moose
Oh,
Tracks, Wiener Bob, Analog Black Sheep, Dragons of Saturn, Neil Henderson, Captain Hawden, Albert, AM25 is here. We got Pudgy Bunny, Panda's here. Hey, Panda Man. Our bro Nick, and we've got Raiden, David Zaney, Starlight, Witch Gaming, Abandoned Witch Gaming, Cerulean, Max Geese, Michael Friesch. That's it for now. Everybody give us a like and thumbs up.
Did you say Max Geese as well?
Max Geese? Max Geis? Yeah, I think so.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure. I just want to make sure we got everybody, but it's all good. Welcome to the show, everyone. Yeah, like I said, some of those Heimlich maneuver just gotta go there.
Friday at last.
Seriously.
Yep. Friday at last. So yeah, I guess what's everyone's update? Anybody got any updates? Any goings on anybody wants to talk about?
Yesterday was Halloween. I don't know if that
anybody
affected anybody
candy?
else.
Happy Halloween, happy Diwali.
I ate more candy than a 41-year-old should. I actually took the kids over to the other side of the street that we live. Like Zion is like the main street that separates the neighborhood. I took them over to the other side because we were trick-or-treating with some friends. And on that side, they really do it up for the adults. Like they have a golf cart going around with all lit up with lights, and they're giving out shots and beers. And people, the adults are just walking around outside with their trick-or-treaters with open containers. I'm like, okay.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So I had a couple of shots of Fireball, and a couple beers, and then there was
So you're not sick. You're hungover then.
I am sick
what I'm
and
hearing.
hungover. I'm both sick and hungover.
You're sung over then.
Yeah, hair of the dog. But no, but definitely there was one house that was doing like chili and cornbread and mac and cheese. They were like, because they're like, yeah, we know that the adults aren't going to be eating candy, so they did a bunch of stuff for the adults.
Yeah, you ate candy though.
I did. I shouldn't have, but I did. Yeah. And
Dave's like, you know what? It goes straight to my thighs.
More like it just like putting me in a kind of like a diabetic coma.
Yeah, it do be doing that sometimes.
Tell you a laugh. Our street's got it's pretty much like something you would expect to see like in the States. Like every house, I think because there's so many kids in our street, like everybody kind of makes an effort. And it's just like inflatables, and like our neighbour 2 doors down had a dummy in their driver's seat with a Pennywise mask with a flashlight going off on it. Like, so as you walk by, this thing was just staring at you. But it's like, our street's got such a reputation for Halloween over the last 3 years that people actually travel from like other areas to go trick or treating in our street. It's like
right, yeah.
Last year, we didn't do it this year, but last year a minibus turned up, and loads of kids just piled it. Like, who hires a minibus to go to a different area to do trick or treating? But there you go. That's what happened at my bit. So it's
That's crazy.
mental up here at Halloween. It's crazy up here at Halloween, but it's good. The kids get a kick out of it, and of course, you get later on it in the evening, and then the big kids come round. You know,
and then they egg your house.
Some of their costumes are terrifying because they're like 6 foot tall, and like
Right.
Scream costumes. You don't know if you have to give them a bar of chocolate or they're going to kill you. So
I mean, it
It's
could be
like,
both. I'd hope for both personally.
It's got to be both. Anyone see any Sega-themed Halloween costumes?
Yes, we
Um,
saw a tail walk by last night. That
A
was
what?
cute.
What did you
The
say?
Tails from Sonic the Hedgehog.
Tails.
Oh,
You saw
nice.
Tails. Oh, okay. Yeah,
Oh,
nice.
Tails.
I saw Hatsune Miku, and I saw some. Who else? What?
I just saw a
don't
bunch of
think I-
Bluey cosplay, a bunch of Bluey costumes.
Oh yeah, tons of Bluey. I
a lot
saw
of Bluey
ton Bluey
costumes.
stuff.
I saw Bluey,
Appar-
the other one.
apparently, there was a site. There was like some kind of one of those like fake AI generated, like rumor mill sites that put out this rumor that there was going to be this huge Halloween parade in Dublin, and like thousands of people showed up en masse, and there was no parade.
The Irish will believe anything. I'm just joking.
And, I mean, it made the rounds today on Twitter. I was like, oh wow, that's funny. So yeah, the streets were just packed with people on both sides, and there's like nothing going on. No guards, no police to like control the traffic or anything like that. Just a ton of people, and they're like, well, what gives? Where's the parade?
Yeah, no, I saw
So
that.
don't believe everything you read online, folks.
Yeah, it's funny because there's like a bunch of AI like garbage site that was set up, and like they were like insinuating that Mr. Beast and everyone's gonna be there and stuff, but like there's just nothing. And I said last minute canceled, and it's like nobody knows if they actually were planning something it fell through or it's just like a troll. But like apparently there was like hundreds and hundreds of people on the side of the street for that. So yeah, hopefully they found a way to have fun at least. I mean,
Yeah, maybe the bars benefited from all the extra people out on this. So they're just like, well,
they're just
screw
handing out
it.
shots to
Let's go
everybody.
to the pub.
Maybe the bars are in on it.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that would be funny if it was like this big campaign to like fill the pubs. We have Sega Steve who joined us, Randoms here, and also Papetsu and Pierre Garot. Welcome, guys.
Nice. Yeah, but no, there's it's been Halloween is pretty easy for me. I just hung out with my girlfriend. We had some chili. We walked around our neighborhood where they had this like giant block party thing for a little bit.
Nice.
And then we had like a tiramisu cake. I don't know if you guys know what crumble is. Like they have those crumble cookies.
Yeah.
Those are really good. We had a bunch of those ones. And then we watched that horror movie Maxine. That was pretty good. There's that new one
Speaking
with
of a
Kevin
horror
Bacon in it.
movie, the Dodgers won the World Series.
Yeah,
That's a horror movie.
I'm sorry to
right
hear
there.
that. My
Yeah.
team yet again choked. Yet again the Yankees and my team's
That was a
choked at
pretty
the
big
last second.
joke, too. That fifth
Yeah, it
inning
was-
down in
That
history.
was pretty sad. Like they just laid down and died. Pat actually called it. He said I never underestimate the Yankees' ability to completely.
All my teams choke. All of them. The Cardinals choked at the Super Bowl. The Yankees choked when they fought the Diamondbacks. The Yankees
Yeah.
choked again this year. Like literally, there's like every single one of my teams always choke when it's like at the end. So I'm sorry for everybody that has teams that are like mine. They're gonna choke and lose. So I don't think I remember one time a team of mine that I liked won the Super Bowl, like an event. I think maybe the only one that I actually liked is when I was a Giants fan back then, like in the aughts when they actually were good and won a Super Bowl against the Patriots. It was super sweet. So
Pat, you sound like you should be a Tottenham Hotspur fan like me.
Oh, Dan, you've got it easy compared to me, mate. My team's been choking
Oh,
for
come
12
on.
years, man. Oh,
You
come
won the
on.
league two
Rangers.
seasons ago.
No, but it's only because like COVID, man, helped. Like it was just circumstances, mate. Rangers have just been shit for years. It's dire. Get
Yeah.
pumped again with Aberdeen, man. Just like
you guys
God.
talking football?
They're talking
We are.
footy.
Soccer.
Yeah, soccer. I
There's
mean,
football on,
real-
on the
real-
screen there. Look.
yeah,
That's right.
There you go. Oh, yeah.
exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
There we go.
I mean, all I know is that FC Liverpool better do good next year. All I'm saying.
So, what do you think of Maxine, Pat?
I thought it was really good. I was surprised. I thought it was gonna, because apparently it's a sequel to 2 other movies, and I just watched
Yeah.
that one out of order. But I did
Same.
like it. I liked it though a lot. The ending was pretty good. I definitely didn't realize it'd be that adult. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool, pretty entertaining film. Yeah, I was like you. I went there. It was like this is the 3rd one in the trilogy. I was like, oh, okay. But no, I thought it was cool, really well done.
Kevin Bacon killed it.
Yeah, he did. He did. I mean, he always kills it.
Yeah, no, he was really good in that one. I like that. Actually, a fun fact. Actually, on my Bacon number is actually 2. I'm 2 degrees away from Kevin Bacon actually, because a friend of mine that I worked with had a contact that did work in the film industry and knew Kevin Bacon pretty well. So I was like, wait, what? It's like, yeah, you're all number 2, and I was like, sweet. So we got a number 2 Kevin Bacon number. That was pretty funny.
Wouldn't
So-
that be 3 if it's the person you know who knows a person who worked with Kevin Bacon?
No, it's
That's
2
3.
degrees away. That'd be 2 degrees because it's one person and another person, and then Kevin
Yeah.
Bacon. Would that be 3?
3rd degree. Yeah, I think that's
degree?
how it works.
Yeah, I was kind of confused.
Kevin
It was
Bacon
like 2 or
actually
3.
making films again.
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon, is he back making films? The last time I seen him, he was doing EE adverts, the world's fastest 5G network. Oh,
Yeah,
the
Analog
EE.
Black she just said the same thing. That was funny. I guess everybody's locked in on the Kevin Bacon meta, but yeah, he was in this movie. He was really good. I saw it like last night. It was really good. I definitely recommend people see it. I also saw that one, and this one called I Saw the TV Glow. I don't know if any of y'all seen that. That was pretty
I've not
good.
seen it myself.
It's basically based off that copy pasta, the creepy pasta back in the day, Caliban Cove or something like that. That one TV show that didn't really exist. It was really good. I actually learned recently that all of it was filmed where I lived in New Jersey. So I remember there's this one part where they're actually at a theme park. I'm like, that theme park looks awfully familiar and awfully specific with the water slide. And I looked up, it's like, oh my god, this was at the theme park I went to when I was a kid in Kingsburg, New Jersey. So funny coincidence with that. Funny coincidences. And then watched Amityville Horror, which was also filmed in New Jersey. So we didn't even mean the original. We didn't even mean for that to happen.
So, did anybody play any spooky Saturn games in the lead up to Halloween?
If I'm being
Well, it's
honest,
just like-
no.
Closest
I
I
mean-
played was Terminator Resistance, and that's not really a horror
not
film, but it's pretty tense at times.
Could be
The original
10,
game is kind of a horror film, really. The big stalker, Schwarzenegger chasing you. But yeah, that's the closest that I got to anything. Like that.
Down.
Okay. I was watching Jason Steele Film Cow last night. He usually plays Saturn games on Saturday every week, but he played a Saturn game last night for Halloween, and it was D. So
Good choice.
yeah, he actually beat the game in one sitting because it's a
You
short
got the
game,
D?
Yep.
2 hours. Yeah. But he actually he had his partner playing it because Scuffy had never played it before, I believe. So, but they thought to use a walkthrough because the puzzles are obtuse as hell indeed.
Right. Yeah.
It's always fun
No,
when you get to play
Good.
play with a D with your friend, you know.
Yeah.
Co-op mode.
You're-
Wow. But then again, I'm not surprised.
Dad, did he manage to beat it and get one of the good endings? Because you've got to beat it quickly, haven't you, to
2
get
hours.
the best endings?
Oh,
Yeah.
2 hours, yeah.
Yeah, they beat it in like an hour and 45 minutes or hour
Oh,
and a half.
nice, first time.
Oh, really? Cool. Did they get all the? Did they get all of the?
Get all the stuff out of the D.
What is it? The bugs? I'm trying to remember. There's something that you have to collect, and if you get all of them, then you get a little bit of a preview of.
I
yeah,
don't
forget
remember. What, a preview of Enemy Zero?
No, of like D2.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't remember that. I'm not sure if they did. I don't think they did. I think
Okay.
they were beat it, so. But Jason was like kind of like explaining about how D2 is like just unrelated basically to D, aside from using the same virtual actress, of course, Laura,
Mhm.
and starts off with an airplane crashing or whatever, and it's weird. And that Enemy Zero is kind of more the spiritual sequel to D.
Yeah, I could get behind that. I mean, Enemy Zero is.
But
I mean, but
it's like
yeah,
a-
like Enemy Zero is great, but it's tough to ask any adult to play it without like some kind of cheats because there's so much backtracking necessary, and it's frustrating. It's like needless, unnecessary backtracking where you're limited to 2 shots, and if you just happen to miss the shot, then you have to do all this backtracking to go recharge your weapon just so that you can make it a little farther and not die. Like, yeah, so like I love that game, but I can't apologize. Like I can't make excuses for some of the gameplay elements I think are
Mhm.
better buffered by like a
You get that
infinite
better buffer.
charge to your gun or something like that.
Hey, another Saturn Halloween related thing I saw yesterday. I think it was yesterday, or the day before. Sega Lord X, our pal Mel, put out a video for Darkstalkers for Vampire Savior. So it's one of my favorite Saturn games. I wanted to play that on Halloween. I just didn't get around to it. But I do like that game a whole lot, and it does have a very good spooky Halloween vibe.
I like it a lot. It's one of my favorite fighters. I'm actually fairly good at it, surprisingly enough.
Oh, damn.
I'm surprised. Usually I main Morgana though, so maybe that's the way it is.
I actually spent the last week like crafting, trying to make a master sword and Hylian shield out of cardboard for Jesse, and it was a lot more work than I thought it would be. Like my wife was like, "Can you make him a sword and shield?" And I was like, "Sure," but then like I'm never like one to half-ass it, so I had to make it look like exactly.
That was impressive, by the way.
Yeah,
That's kind of crazy.
Insanely impressive.
Yeah, and even then I didn't leave well enough alone, and I did a bunch of I used a bunch of Sharpies to add like depth and stuff like that. I just didn't post it, but it ended up looking really, really cool. But then he complained about having to lug it around.
Of course.
I was just like, of course. So that and I binged a bunch of anime. Dan would be proud. Dan Thrax, you'd be proud. I don't know if you would be proud, but I know you like anime. So I completely binged Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation, and I loved it. It was really good. I don't know if you guys have watched that, but it's a really cool isekai with really slow, like drawn out character development that I feel like makes it well worth the watch. And I think it's 3 seasons.
And really good animation for the first season.
Yes, yeah, really. That's the other thing too. It really stands. That and RE0. I binged RE0, which is
how you finished the whole thing?
I'm caught up to present, and now
you're like 2 shows short of Isekai Quartet.
You need to watch. You need to watch the best isekai. Do you love your mom and her multi-lock on target attack?
Okay, no, I haven't seen that. Boy. Between that and also Danmachi, which is also coming out 1 episode per week.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you when I almost rage quit our ReZero, Dave?
No.
I almost rage quit it because I think it was halfway through the 2nd season and it kept repeating. I'm like,
it's rough.
Second season it was pissing me off.
Also, second season, not only I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but he shouts a lot, and it's just you're like, damn, does this character just speak all of his lines shouting in my ears? It's rough. It's hard to but it mellows out. It mellows out in the 3rd season, and then it gets better. But
I haven't checked out the recent season, the new one that came out. We watched up to the 2nd one. Oh man, that season pissed me off. I was like, I almost rage quit the show. I was like, Peter, I can't deal with this show anymore. Please.
Okay, I'll try not to complete. So it's kind of like Groundhog's Day, that show. It's kind of like Groundhog's Day. He kind of gets to go back and do everything over kind of thing.
That show will stick. When he dies, he restarts at a checkpoint.
So, and I don't think that's spoiling it, because that's kind of the basic plot synopsis. But basically, everything gets so irrevocably screwed to the point where you're just like, oh my God, it's screwed upon screw. It's so effed, but then somehow he figures out how to just kind of unwind everything and make everything work out to his to his benefit in the end, but I mean, you really have to you have to see him fail so badly first, before he finally has success. But anyway, it's good.
Yeah, if you like that sort of show, you should definitely watch Steins Gate. You'll definitely love that.
Yeah, I'm looking for more.
Steins Gate's really good.
I was going to recommend Overlord.
That's another one I was kind of tentatively looking at.
Konosuba also is really good.
These things are huge commitments to get into, But
Konosuba might be a little bit easier.
It's got a new movie coming out, so you got to get caught up with 4 seasons of it.
Yeah, so highly recommend those 3: Danmachi, ReZero, and the Jobless Reincarnation, Mushoku Tensei. Really good stuff.
Definitely just recommend as well. Just stick with ReZero. It's gonna suck. That 2nd season, there's gonna be episodes that's gonna be you want to quit it, just get through it. It's worth it. But
Yeah,
just
my
warn
favorite
people.
character I think is Beatrice or Betty, the little girl in the library.
I suppose.
I suppose. Fall apart where you stand, I suppose. That's like my favorite line of hers.
I actually did an interview with her voice actress for a thing I didn't release that I probably should. The English voice actress for her.
Oh, did you really? Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, her
I
and
probably should
Rem
release
probably. Okay, cool. We probably have some news to talk about. We should probably get
Yeah.
get
I
on
mean, we got a
into-
lot of news.
We do.
Yeah. So
Nothing happened this week.
yeah, nothing community shattering happened
Nothing
at all.
big. I think we're just gonna have to vamp, right? We're gonna have to make
Yeah,
up stuff.
we have nothing to talk about. No, but yeah, let me get that article thing up. I might be blocking James though, so James won't have a giant web thing.
You just put it behind him.
Oh, that works.
We could have him peek around it,
Yeah, hold
You
on,
like-
like Wilson,
like Wilson.
from Home Improvement.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get this behind him. Give me a second.
Behind window, behind door number 1. We've got an eligible bachelor. Well, no, actually, he just had another
Blind
kid.
date, isn't it? Surprise, surprise.
Ineligible
He
bachelor.
enjoys Dreamcast and Saturn games. He's hopeless.
Long walks on the beach, sunsets.
That's right.
Yeah, let me see if I can get him up. Get him around here.
I think you just would drop the browser behind him, right?
Yeah, it just
You're
won't
just-
move. It's not moving behind him.
Layers are locked.
No, it's not locked. Oh, weird.
Okay.
No, it's not the layers are locked. It's like the web page one won't go into another window, another
Oh,
capture.
weird.
Why don't I do that? That kind of works.
There
but
you
it's behind
go.
the capture.
There
There we
you
go. He's just sitting
That
on
works.
the thing.
Put it back.
Oh wow, he's like inside it.
Yeah.
Oh,
James
come
has
on, you.
Inception. He's like been put inside.
Been betrayed
actually-
there, mate. That's it.
I love it.
Betrayal.
This is like how the sausage is made right here. You know, the funny thing is, however you have it set up, Pat, is nothing like how I have mine in set up.
I think it's just
So I can't even
it's just
give you
convenient that
advice.
he's put into that.
You destroy everything you touch, Trinoko.
I'm a bad person. What can I say?
Okay, we love
So
you anyway.
I guess let's rip off the bandage as hard as we possibly can. So Princess Crown, yeah. This was a news story that went up, and things happened with that. Stuff happened
You
with this a
think?
lot.
A little bit.
Things involving stuff happened, and yeah. So I'm just gonna break right into it like a
Well,
hand
wait,
grenade.
show of hands. Who here was like surprised by this coming out? I'm raising my hand even though you can't see
Yeah.
it.
James
Yeah, like,
in the
I don't think any
dimension,
of us
the
actually.
web wrestler dimension.
I don't think any of us actually saw this coming.
No, basically what happened is that, so I guess I'll start my preface. We'll start from the beginning. We'll break it all down. So I was up doing going to do a podcast with Dan and James, but I guess something happened and we weren't able to get that going. So we just called it. And essentially I was about to go to bed and I saw a post on Facebook about something about a Princess Crown translation. I'm like, okay. So I looked into it, I played it, and I put it on my satiator, and lo and behold, Princess Crown was in English in front of my eyes. So yeah, I played it. I let James and Dan know that this was a thing, and let's be like, hey, here's the thing for you guys. Sent an image of that to them, so they were able to get that up. So very good video, by the way. I think Dan worked on that, right?
Yeah, cheers, Pam. Yeah, I killed myself trying to get that out so quickly.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really good. I think you did a great job on it. I actually did like the video a lot and gave
Thank
a
you.
little bit more info on that. So great work on that one. I really appreciate that. So yeah, I put the video together. I wrote the article up, and after I was done, it was 3 a.m, and I went to bed and saved it and had Dan. I think I shared the video out, and I told Dan, I wrote the article up. I need to go to bed. Just hit the video up when you get up. Edit it, make sure it's
I was lying in
good.
bed, grabbed my phone, and first thing I look at, I'm like, oh, someone added me on Discord. So I go to look, and it's like you talking about, hey, I made a story about Princess Crown. It was translated. I'm like, oh shit. So I'm sitting there proofreading your story while lying in bed sleepily. And then
Yeah. Apparently he didn't like me holding his hand while I did it. We were both in. No, never mind. That's
Yeah.
Too much.
You had gone to bed so late.
Yeah, I came up
I
and
wonder-
cuddled him afterwards. I crawled in bed. I gave him a kiss on it. She's like, Danny boy, I got this story. When you wake up,
Don't tell them all our secrets, Pat.
I won't. But
Anyway, so
anyways,
We
yeah.
report on this translation patch coming out for Princess Crown, putting it into English. We didn't totally know the whole story behind it just yet.
Yeah, we had no idea. Like I said, we just put it up, and I got the basics down. Some guy named EAD Master put up a fan like compiled it and did some edits to it. I didn't know the exact details using the old repo that was put up by CyberWarrior X, and I was like, okay, there's the details. Boom.
Is it EAD Master or Ed? I thought it was Ed Master, like Headmaster, but just taking
I thought it was EAD,
H
like
off.
the.
That's how I pronounce it.
Which
I thought it was
Edmaster?
Headmaster.
It's just me slipping into
Yeah,
a
that's
North
what I
London
would
accent. Ed Master.
I thought of Mr. EAD from F-Zero.
Yeah.
I think that's what I was thinking of. So, Eid Master. I'll just call him Eid Masters for short. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. It's really on. I thought that's what it was supposed to be referencing. So that's why I said EAD, because in F-Zero he's named Mr. EAD. So that's why I was thinking of that. So,
But it's really rare for anything in the realm of translation on Saturn to catch us by surprise, right? Because usually we are either in talks with those people involved, or we've seen it coming for a while, right? So this this still caught us by surprise.
Sort of. Like, okay, so at least for my part, I had seen that Eid Master, let's call him, had posted in the very old CyberWarrior X made, I believe, thread on Sega Extreme about a month ago. Posted about a month ago saying, hey, I am trying to take this old translation and put it in. Does anybody, want to help or something? I don't know. He put some kind of a little post. He revived this very old thread.
yeah.
I had seen that, and no one, everyone just kind of ignored him, because it's sometimes people will post in Sega Extreme once in a while and be like, oh yeah, I'm working on this thing, and then you never really hear from them again, or it's a long, long time. So I didn't really think much of it, and there wasn't really anything else until all of a sudden he just updated his own GitHub with a downloadable translation patch. He didn't even put any posts in the thread. He didn't publicize anything online, and someone just noticed it on their GitHub and tweeted about it.
They were
and then
following that repo probably.
Yeah.
yeah, and then that just started spreading like wildfire. That's where I first saw it. Was a retro gaming account had tweeted it out.
Yeah, that's what I saw when I was researching a little bit more. I saw the post on Twitter first, but I searched out and found it, and I went to bed and it got a couple tens of replies and tweets and stuff, and then I woke up and it was at was it 951 shares and 2.7k likes, and that's not even with the article itself. The article itself got 138 reshares, 485 likes on Twitter. So I'm I woke up to my phone blowing up.
Translations and Princess Crown in particular has been one that people have wanted for a long, long time, since it originally came out in Japan only in 1997.
Yeah, so everyone was pretty excited. I think that as people played through it, they found out that it actually crashes when you fight the dragon, I think, so it's only limited to that at the moment. So that's sort of where it stands with that.
Yeah, it's not super playable.
There's a fix.
There's a fix?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a workaround, really. And it's largely because of the version of the patch that this patch is based off of. But essentially, you are meant to get to that point, save the game, switch over to the true Japanese version, and play through the game as normal there to get past that one boss, and then you should be able to continue the game after that point.
Save, go back to the English patch version, and then keep going.
Yeah, and that is the workaround for that, which is part of the reason why that version wasn't originally released to the public.
Yeah, but so I guess that's one way to get a workaround. So I guess technically speaking, besides that part, you can pretty much beat it to the end as long as you go use that workaround at the moment. So like I said, there's been a lot of issues, like the graphics are bugged on the menus for the actual shops, so that's kind of a bugged still a bit. So the menu items, So it's definitely not something I'd want to throw on a repo and a reproduction game and play and have in my collection. Just
so this
me.
is based on a really old version of the GitHub, right? It's like a really old version of the repo that was like pulled
like from
years
2013 or 2014, I think.
Yeah, because that's why I was caught by surprise by that, because I've talked to Sam I am recently and knew that he was still working on this, and that they had been working on it quietly, like they'd been vocal about needing help a long time ago, but didn't get any, and then subsequently took it quiet again because they'd been working on it. So here I was thinking, okay, when and if I hear about this Princess Crown thing coming out, it's going to be like Sam or Cyber Warrior putting it out, right? So that's what caught me off guard, because I didn't see that post that Danthrax was talking about. So yeah, I was like, when I read the article, I woke up and I was like, oh wait, it's out, but it's not the folks who I think it was supposed to be putting it out. Yeah. So yeah, but that explains a lot.
Yeah. The idea there is that that the release that this is based off of. So this is like a forked version 3. The version 2 that was released, I think that was the only ever public release of this patch, and that was released for the purpose of as a help wanted ad. It was like, here's the current state of the work. We are looking for volunteers to fix
similar to the
some
Saru
of these issues.
Similar to the Saru, because I remember with the Saru project, which is also like a 10-year long kind of thing, they put it out on GitHub because they needed to recruit help. Because they were running into so many difficulties, so many obstacles. I think was it Hitomi 2500 tried to help out too, and like they just kept coming up against hard obstacles. And then I think at some point, vendors got a hold of that code, right? And then just were like, okay, we're just taking it live as it is. And then all of a sudden, the original creator was like working overtime to try to like patch all of the things that were going wrong with it, right? So it's kind of like it just kind of got rushed out,
Yeah. So essentially, this got into the wild. People have been playing it, and there was the Cyber Warrior X and Sam I Am eventually caught wind of it, and they're pretty disappointed in the fact that that was the state of how that was released and what they used based off the material. Like, I think there's been a lot of things, like there's been stealing allegations, but nothing was stolen. All this code was where there's at the time was on the repo hub, the GitHub repo. Like, that was all legit, and of course, like, the EAD master doesn't have any, I guess, any right to use the other code by Cyber Warrior X beyond the point of that GitHub repo, and of course Sam I Am's translations. I think it all boils down to the issue with sort of etiquette sort of things. Like, a lot of people, I think Dave and I were talking about it off stream, that it's all about sort of the etiquette of it. Like, nobody was asked. There was more like ask for forgiveness rather than permission, and a lot of people were pretty upset about it in the scene for sure.
Right. I mean, well, because if he had just like straight up asked, the answer probably would have been no, right? The answer probably would have been, well, no, we took that down because we've been working on it. So that makes sense. It makes sense why he would just kind of go ahead with his own version. And you're right. It's like some people don't see it as a non-issue, and that's cool. Like, I get it. Like, there are feelings on both sides. I was telling Pat, I think that the folks who are close to translation projects, they have empathy for for Sam and for CWX, but the folks who don't, and are just kind of been waiting for this translation for 10 years are, less empathetic to that side of things. They're just like, we deserve to have it by now.
Yeah, and
so
I've been
just
really,
give it to us.
really disappointed with all the, with the sort of what's been going on in the scene recently. With all the, it's just been seeing like attacks, antagonizations, people just being uber rude to each other, and it's been really disheartening, to be honest with you. Like, I'm trying not to like say anything specific. It just like, it seems that like tempers have been really high recently. Maybe it has something to do with the political situation in America, on top of just everybody just being, I guess, frustrated and everything like that. But I think everybody in this chat really has experienced some sort of like annoyance with that, right? The whole attitude that's been in the scene.
The whole thing has been unnecessary. I mean, let's be real here. I mean, if you break it down, the fact that the patch came out really good things have come of it. We've seen Cyber Warrior X's new build and Sam IM's latest translation that looks absolutely spectacular. At the end of the day, the only people that really have a right to be aggrieved, and rightfully so, because when you are talking about etiquette, are Cyber Warrior X and Sam. And people can be empathetic to that, but what is completely unacceptable is people from all directions catching strays, getting insulted, other people's work being denigrated, their accolades, you know, their skill set, basically being talked down. For what reason? You know, all it's doing is showing the community in a bad light. And if you're someone from the outside looking in, I mean, you said, Pat, there was so much engagement on this. This is such a highly anticipated game for a translation. You know, people have been hungry for this for ages. And the good news is that people love it so much that, you know, there is that hunger for for Cyber Warrior X's version to come out. You know, it's the version that him and Sam have been working on. You know, people are going to be all over that when it comes out. And this is kind of just whetted their appetite. The problem is that if you're someone from the outside looking in, and if you're one of those masses that came into our video or to the SHIRO video or been looking at social media, and if they went into the Sega Extreme website, you look in and you see that you're not going to see a community that you're going to want to join. You're not going to see people that you're going to want to collaborate with. You're going to see a bunch of people acting pretty disgustingly, to be honest. For what reason?
Very toxic. Like this just kind of toxic vibe.
I think there's a lot of.
There's been.
All right, I'll let you, Emerald.
Yeah, so there's been moderation activities based off of cooling this thing off on multiple Discords and on the SX forums themselves. Like even the actual development thread had to be muted by Antime himself before things even cooled down. And I think one thing that tends not to be not really remember, but like let's keep in mind, if anyone's like directly interfacing with a lot of these devs are not like media trained YouTube personalities that you might be expecting the modern social media savvy person to be. Devs tend to be ornery. I try to be less so than average, but like I do keep in mind that like a lot of the people I interact with SX side that are doing this work do get ornery, do get fighty, and it's something it's something that I try to mitigate with one-to-one conversation, but it is a thing that happens, and sometimes it's like it is a don't meet your heroes kind of thing. You can tell which people on which side are getting fighty, and usually it's because they're close to the situation as a dev.
It's unfortunately, like you said, they're not very media savvy, and part of that is, you know, where we've gotten in the situation where people have waited 10 years and there have been years that have gone by without any updates to where people think that the project is dead. Now, so others like Trekkies have said, hey, the project isn't dead, don't worry about it, they're just, you know, they're busy in their lives. Still, human nature is to be impatient and to assume the worst. You know, this is why when I was, you know, involved with the bulk slash translation patch and Stellar Assault, I made it a point to put out an update every 2 or 3 weeks publicly saying, here's what we've done in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Now, thankfully, we kept up a pretty good pace and got both those patches done in less than a year. But still, like, I tried to put things out there so that people would know that this is still alive, it's not dead, and you know, don't worry about it. But not every patch dev is going to have the time or think to do that, or really like know how to do
that. You know, some people have a different style. Some people are just like, we're working on it, and when it's out, it's out.
Right.
You know?
So I had the case here, and it's unfortunate that, you know, it's taken them a very long time to do their patch. And people got impatient. I think that's kind of what happened with Eidmaster here, where he's like, you know what, I'm just going to take something that was technically legally available through GitHub, through the GPL license, and I'm going to work with it and put something out that people can play. And since then, he come out and said he's going to work with like a different translator to try to like finish the translation and maybe make some of his own changes. I don't know. But yeah, I just wanted to say that, you know, I do feel bad for Sam IM and Cyber Warrior X. Obviously, this is their unfinished work is out there, and they haven't been able to present their patch the way they want to.
And it's also their earlier work that they scrapped. Like some of it is the code that they scrapped because it wasn't, it was problematic. So they really didn't want that getting to light. But I mean, I agree with you, Dan. And I think that as SHIRO, like as a we've for years had a really close relationship with the homebrew community and with the translation patch community. And I think that's what kind of gives us pause. It gives us a little bit more empathy for those guys, because otherwise I would just be a dude on YouTube, right, who's just like, check out this patch, it's awesome.
Yeah, no credits, no nothing. Here's the patch.
Right.
Somebody did it somewhere.
Again, I'm more sensitive to it because I have worked with so many of you, and I do appreciate. I don't think people realize, first of all, it needs to be said, Princess Crown is a tough nut to crack. Just it is not one of the it's not easy mode in terms of translation. It's one of the harder ones, I think, that has been described to me as one of the harder games to translate, just due to some of the compression and some of the some of the character stuff that's going on. Dan Thrax understands that side of things, having patched a couple games.
The problem is that people seem to want, especially like content creators or reporting on these kind of stories, people seem to want us to pick a side, or people want to see someone choose a side,
right,
either on Master's side or Cyber and Sam I Am's side, and then that kind of leads to vitriol on its own. What Dan said earlier was absolutely spot on. Dan, on my side, it's like it's completely unacceptable. At the end of the day, it's anticipated. People want to play it. They've been waiting for 10 years, etc., etc. This is a video game we're talking about here,
right?
And
yeah, like guys, please, you guys got to calm down with this reaction. Like at the end of the day, like Princess Crown, like I'll be blunt, it's not like the best game on the Saturn. Like it's good in some aspects. Like it's not a bad game, but like everyone's acting like this is like Panzer Dragoon like 5 or whatever. Like the next Saga
it's
2.
It represents a historical first for this like company that would go on to be Vanillaware, and I think it's more like that. Like honestly, the game itself, I played through it in Japanese with a guide, and it was alright. But I mean, it wasn't like I'm gonna be honest with you. As an artist, I love the art. Like that gets a 10 out of 10.
Oh yeah, I love it. The art's perfect in the game.
There are several other games that I would rather see translated, to be honest with you. And this has kind of been one of those games where we feel like it's cursed, because it's like over the years, anytime a fan translation would be teased, everybody's like, Princess Crown when? So it's almost like for anybody working on a translation, it's almost like they get what do you call it?
They get the jitters.
Upstaged by the fact that everybody really hopes it's just going to be Princess Crown, and then is ultimately let down when you tell them, well, no, it's Wachenroder or something like that. But
that's a hella statement. Oh, I'm let down. Why wasn't Princess Crown over Wachenroder? What a statement!
Or the Rainbow Puzzle game, whatever. I mean, it's like not every game can have this kind of like weight to it.
I guess I'm joking though, because I agree though, Dave. I actually heard people say that they were disappointed that it was Wachenroder and not Princess Crown. It's like I legit heard that.
That's why I brought that up as the excuse, because I'm like, okay, Wachenroder. I would much rather see Wachenroder translated, to be honest. But like folks were seriously complaining because it wasn't Princess Crown. And again, I agree with James. I agree with Dan. There's two sides to this, right? And certainly nobody needs to be fighting over it. It is a video game. There's so many more important things in life, and it's fairly trivial. It's fairly trivial. I also agree with Pat. Etiquette is important.
It's not a good look for the Saturn community right now.
Right.
It's a community which, by and large, for the 4 or 5 years that I've been part of it, it's always been relatively, if not pretty much, drama-free. It's always came across as very welcoming, very collaborative. And then you're seeing, but apart from, I know you was talking to you earlier, Dan Thrax, about bulk slash and some of the kind of challenges that you had there, but it's like, there's just no need for it. It's like, you don't have to pick a side. Us as creators, and you've got to remember, it's the SHIRO Media Group. We've got a duty to report things as it happens. So the patch broke, like Pat said.
Absolutely.
He let Dan and I know. We did the video, but it's not as if that's all we left out there. Like Pandemonium did an interview with Eidmaster. He's then spoke to Sam and Cyber and got the video permission to put it on the site for the 0.9 build. So Shiro are representing all sides of it. So it's like, I don't understand why there's any kind of vitriol that's coming kind of our way or creators' ways. It's crazy. It's like you can see both sides of the story and rationalise it. You can empathise, understandably, with Cyber and Sam I Am, but you can also empathise with people who might be going, well, it's been 10 years and we've had no updates. Right. So it's like you can see the arguments in both sides. That doesn't mean you have to agree with either of them. Like our official stance at the Sega guys, our opinion is we have no opinion. Like, we are not publicly getting into where we stand on it. Right. But we're going to draw a line down the middle and say we can absolutely see all arguments, but it's just a plea basically to just stop the toxicity, man. Let's put the fun back into this community again, because the last week has been absolute hell.
Agreed.
It has.
And I mean,
the one thing I was going to add is,
go ahead.
When you talk about the sides, the people that really have been really getting on the devs' backs up aren't people in the community. They are random trolls who are a blight on social media everywhere. These are the people that are saying that are really, again, this is where it's really unsavory. These are random people. Some of the posts on the Sega Extreme thread of people that joined just to make that comment. They've only got that one post and they're saying inflammatory things to the devs on there, and that is unacceptable. But unfortunately, in this internet world that we live in, that's we get it on our YouTube channel. We get randoms coming in and abusing us all the time.
You're the messenger, and you're getting shot. I mean, there's a lot of shooting the messenger going on.
Yeah,
here.
you got to. When it comes to these internet trolls, unfortunately, there's not much we can do about them. They're here to stay, and they're the ones that are really driving you've got people that are like, well, I've been a bit impatient, people, but then you've got the trolls that are really pushing the envelope, and I think that's what's got the devs' backs up. But I think as community members, you can't get into that. And I know what people are saying about the devs not being social media trained. We're not social media trained. We're just a couple of gamers that picked up a microphone.
Yeah, exactly.
Just be a decent human being, really. That etiquette that people are talking about. Yeah. Show that to everyone. There's no special treatment for anyone. You've got to just be a decent human being. We could have drawn a line under this. People said, no, you shouldn't have done that, Eidmaster. To be honest, when I've seen what he's posted, he's been fairly reasonable, and he's even got a new translator into his own translation. It could have been like, hey, you shouldn't have done that. Hold your hands up.
I got a great
new version coming.
I'll talk to you later. Happy show.
Oh, you have to go.
See you, Dan.
Okay, Dan.
I'll see you, Dan.
Cheers, Dan.
Yeah, we've got this amazing looking new version from Sam and Cyber Warrior X. And it could have been that, but things have been moderated in the Discord. Things have been moderated on the Shiro forums, the Sega Extreme forums, but we still see it spill out everywhere where this game's mentioned. Social media, our channel, other people's channels. It needs to stop. It's
just a nightmare.
You don't get this with almost any other game, But it's like,
and that was something I was going to bring up. Is that this game in particular is cursed. Like, think of all the patch activity that has been happening over the past 5 or 6 years or so. Like the big ramp up since 2018, 2019. I mean, we've gotten Grandia, we've got Sakura Wars. If any game franchise I thought was going to be not deserving but indicative of this level of negative spotlight from just perfectionists of people, the whole localizer versus translator debate or whatever, it'd be something like Bulk Slash or Sakura Wars or something that's much bigger and quite frankly higher quality game than Princess Crown. But Princess Crown has, I guess, developed this reputation of it's like the Duke Nukem Forever of fan translations.
Well, I mean, Trekkies did get some foot tapping, some sonic toe tapping, watch tapping from people for Grandia. I remember he was especially at the end, but again, he had a really open, beta test that took a very long time, and people were welcome to be involved in it. Yeah, this one's always been worked on behind closed doors. Panda makes a good point that it's one of the oldest translations to get started. So I mean, maybe that's part of it, is just like people, the anticipation and the waiting and stuff like that. I personally, I'm from that school of thought that it's like, unless you're going to make it yourself, then there is no entitlement. 10 years, 20 years, unless you're so impatient that you're going to get up and go do it yourself and make it happen. I don't really think we're necessarily owed anything. You know, that's my personal thought. But again, at the same time, that's kind of what Edmaster did, right? Or Edmaster did. It was get up and do it himself. You know, he was like, okay, I'm done waiting. I have access to some of the code. I think I can make this happen, you know? And so, you know, I definitely can see kind of like both sides to it. Definitely there's an etiquette thing there where, yeah, you know, you could have reached out and said, hey, I'm doing this. But again, that might have resulted in, you know, them saying, please don't, you know, and that's kind of not the answer you want to hear, right?
And I think the biggest difference. Sorry, I was going to say real quick.
I just wanted to. You go first. You go first.
Okay. Basically, so the way I look at it is that there's that argument that the things that nobody's holding dibs on this. I've heard people say, oh, they had dibs on it. There's no dibs. If somebody else did Princess Crown and like did it with all their own tools and translations and released it, it's gonna be like, oh well. Like, you know, that's too tough. That's you know, that's too bad for Cyber Warrior X and Sam I Am that took that years. I mean, just what it is. I mean, they can continue it. I mean, the things that there's no dibs. Like, there's plenty of games that have multiple translations or versions or patches for it. Like Symphony of the Night has like 5 of them. So it's like, I know. But like the thing is that I think that the issue people were saying is that because it uses that code, I think is where the big stipulation is. But to be honest, even if it didn't use the code, I think people would still like, because I think somebody pointed out like the whole Persona 2 controversy with CJ Iroquois, where they beat them to the punch with that, and then everyone started harassing CJ for that. I think we would have gotten to that thing where people were like, yeah, we got this translation in your face, and it's like, I absolutely hate that, and that's one of the things I hated about the Persona community when I saw that. Maybe lose respect is that attacking on that and harassing. It's just like, why would, like, I don't know, like I think this rage culture of being angry and have to pick a side in a team and screw the other guy is not my cup of tea. I guess to quote Brian Wilson, really, I guess I wasn't made for this time.
No, this sort of crap happened back in the 90s, man. With Final Fantasy V on the Super Nintendo, there was so much drama about that translation. This stuff has been around for as long as there's been translations. It's just one of these things where it felt like this was a nice, tight-knit community that we felt was shielded from it. Not the case.
And I don't think this map's exactly the same. And I wanted to clear up, but I think Trino already did that a lot of what I was trying to clear up, which was the point of contention here. And this does source from like Cyber Warrior himself expressing this, is that, people aren't really, at least in the Saturn translation, at least on SX, people aren't really calling dibs on games themselves rather than work product. So the point of contention was that the original source of this particular patch was someone else's work product, which yes, was licensable out, but they didn't think that would happen, and it was removed so long ago that they thought that was no longer an issue. But like in terms of like a scenario like where Final Fantasy V or Persona 2, I think there's been enough examples to the contrary where I think we are still at the moment kind of immune from that level of needless argument, where it's like, I got scooped on Baroque, and I'm kind of relieved that happened, because I didn't particularly like Baroque after I started working on it. I think, like you said, there's multiple Castlevanias. I'm sure there's a handful of other translations that people have gotten to that just people got scooped on. It's like, okay, fine, I'll move on to the next thing. It's a very specific situation to be in. This is not normally a thing that happens, and there is room for like a reasoned discussion about what you personally think would be the correct method of going about whatever happened here. It's not what has been happening in the discussions that we've been seeing. There's been a lot of unnecessary fighting from people not even involved.
But I think
that are not, yeah.
I think what was necessary was for us to just do our due diligence and report the news, like James said. You know, the patch was released, we have to report about it. There was a response by the original creators, we have to report about it. It's news. Then there was a response from the patcher, it's news. Like that's what we do. If folks have a problem with that, I'm sorry. Like we are a Sega Saturn news site, and if there's news about Sega Saturn, we're gonna be telling you about it. You know, and I realize, being the messenger, we might pick up some flack. You know, there might be some fire in our direction, and we might take a few shots, and but that's any news organization, any news outlet. We have to remain unbiased. We have to report the news. That's how folks are going to find out. And taking the silver lining that Dan was talking about, there are good things that have come out of this, and it's true. Like you look at the kind of motivation, like nothing motivates better than putting out this, like the Saru cart as it was on AliExpress a couple years ago, and like carts were bricking and people were like buying these things and then finding out that they were borked, and then all of a sudden the original creator is just like coding, fixing this, fixing that, patching this, patching that. It was like a, well, okay, I guess this thing is going live, so now I've got to provide support kind of thing. And I see it it just feels very deja vu with this. It's like been a very, very long time, decade project, and now that it's kind of the cat's out of the bag, you can definitely see them rushing forward with like proof of that they've been working really hard all this time. Check out everything we've done,
Yeah, which we'll show in the right now, the video that they posted. They posted up on an update where he basically said an update. I'll read it verbatim right here. Sam and I began our Princess Crown translation in the spring of 2012. Cyborg wrote, by the year's end, we have completed the first draft of the script and print routine displaying English characters in-game. But it was all very rudimentary, and the bulk of our work still lay ahead of us. In February 2013, I created a GitHub with a snapshot of the project and its then current state with hopes of attracting someone to help me solve the technical issues. After making progress, however, Sam and I agreed to keep my team to just the two of us for the sake of simplicity. Years went by, and real life kept us both very busy. But we each made great progress, and neither of us ever considered abandoning the project. The GitHub, meanwhile, was never updated. Last week, EAD Master took the assets from the now ancient GitHub project, made a few minor adjustments, and used them to release his own Princess Crown translation. He did this without so much as giving us the notice beforehand, much less asking permission. Strictly speaking, GitHub's licensing terms do allow him to do so. However, in practice, this kind of thing is widely considered to be disrespectful and in poor etiquette in the game translation scene. As we have always made clear, the translation as existed then was not ready to be seen. Therefore, it's now widely obsolete. With this video, we aim to demonstrate our progress and show people that ours will be the translation worth playing. No, we aren't releasing a beta now, and no, we can't promise about when we'll finish. What we can say is that Princess Crown deserves a high-quality translation, and that we intend to deliver. Going forward, we'll try to release more in the way of updates and previews. To the fans of the game and everyone who has been waiting, we thank you for your patience. Believe us, we'd like to get this thing finished too. And I'll put on the video on the screen while we talk the progress they've made and the changes while we have that up there. But essentially, they're still working on it, and the updates are hopefully they'll be updating a little bit more frequently. I don't want to say that that this was a good thing that happened to motivate them. I'm happy that they're going up and being like a little bit more open to updates and actually showing off some of the bait of what they're working on. But yeah, I just wish it wasn't in this way, if that makes sense. Hopefully,
absolutely. Yeah,
not speaking out of turn.
There. Yeah,
yeah. I think if you're a fan, yeah. I think if you're a fan, both it's good news to see both. The release and this amazing update. But if you're Cyber Warrior X and Sam, yeah, it sucks for their work to have to come out in this way, given that they've been working on it, and it does look spectacular. And as I said, you definitely feel for the pair of them, and especially the way that the communities react. Not the community, but a lot of the people that outside the community, that like the randoms of social media and stuff. That's been really tough to see. So, and as I said at the very start, people that do have every right to be upset are those guys. So it's far from ideal for it to
Their
come out
hands
this
been
way.
forced. Yeah, their hands been forced essentially. They weren't ready to show it off, and they'll probably be a bit miffed as well that they've had to show it. But what they have shown is fantastic. You know, you can see it running, you know, behind me there. It's, you know, all the text, the space, and it fits in the font. It looks great. So, but let's
Reads really well as well.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all saying it'll be ready when it's ready, isn't it? It's just a case of, you know, I don't know what the future holds in terms of if Ed Master's going to work with them, if he's going to forge ahead with his new translator and do his version. I just don't know. But
Yeah,
you know, it's at least good that we have seen, you know, that the kind of the translation that people have hoped would come will eventually happen. You know, the high quality translation is out there, because I think a lot of people did feel that it was kind of dead and buried, even though, like, I think Trekkies and Panda and even Dave, I think you said you spoke to Sam I Am recently as well, they've always maintained that it's not dead, it's just life gets in the way. Christ, we know all about life getting in the way, you know, work and kids and families and stuff that happens. We took a 7-month hiatus for doing this channel, for God's sake. It's like life sometimes just gets in the way, and I think people need to appreciate that see, at the end of the day, these guys, they're doing this for nothing.
yes.
Like, that's why nobody's owed anything. These guys are doing this with their own skills and their own talent.
It's
and
quite
their
literally a
own
thankless
time.
job, especially after everything that's happened.
Exactly.
And I mean,
So
for
I think
people,
a
Go ahead.
bit of appreciation as well, you know, is what's needed, rather than the kind of toxicity.
to those, go ahead.
Okay, I just want to say, like, just to co-sign off of that. It's these are not just like empty pleasantries or what have you, whatever. That's pleasantry is the wrong word, but like this is not performative. This sentiment to the opposite end of, hey, let's social engineer the situation, let's apply more pressure to get this out faster, has been echoed in several locations on the internet, directed specifically and personally to Cyber Warrior X and Sam I Am. At multiple occasions. This is not the first time Princess Crown drama specifically has happened, specifically to those people. These guys are under a particular kind of pressure that most of the other guys in the SX scene don't really have to deal with. There's a lot of, like I said, this is a cursed project. A lot of people seem to think that, yes, the ends justify the means. If we do harass them enough, this thing will come out faster. It's like, hey, let's decide, not based off of whether this is a good thing to do, but whether this will achieve my ability to play this 30-year-old video game faster, if I should try to publish information about this guy, or go post on the forums with a whole bunch of sock puppet accounts, or what have you. So no, this is a sentiment that should be communicated, is that these guys are doing it in their spare time for free, and they need to be treated like people and not the vending machine.
And let me add to that, that here's the thing. At the end of the day, you can still go play this game. I did it. There are guides online. There are scripts online. There was an old website. I think it's still accessible via the Wayback Machine that it takes you through pages of the script with images and everything. And that's how I played the game. You can play this game. You don't need to sit here and say, oh, well, you know, I've been held hostage for 10 years. I can't play this game. I did it. You know, if you really want to play Princess Crown enough, and it's a great game in the Saturn's library, a unique title, you can play the game and you can use a guide. But so if really the argument is just like, I want to play an English patch of it, well then, you know, play the borked one that just came out, or just have a little bit more patience and play it like they, you know, like these guys intend it. You know, they are working on it, I assure you. And you know, I think folks just need to have a little bit of grace and kindness for one another, you know, and that's what I'm not seeing.
I mean, let's think about there's one game I'm desperate to come to the Dreamcast in English, and that is Sega Gaga, and that has been
Aye.
ongoing.
That's another cursed project.
You know,
I think that is like
it's on, it's
crown
off.
of the Dreamcast.
I think so, and it's like that's one that I really want to play. Like, I just love the whole story behind it. I think Sega taking a complete pot shot at themselves and just mocking themselves as they exit hardware. It's just typically Sega wackiness, but I'm not going to go and harass like Derek Pascarella or some of the guys that he's been.
I mean, I'm going to do that,
apart
but I'm his friend, so I can do that.
other
You're
reasons.
just a dick, Pat.
I'll harass him for other reasons.
Derek, you watch out. I'm coming for you, buddy. If that game ain't done by next week, I swear.
Sega Gaga win. And I'm just going to keep saying that. I'll message him.
But it's like you're not going to see like people in his DMs harassing him, going like, "Oh no, where is it? Where is it?" Because we realise it's a Herculean, task to get that done. But when it happens, and I'm sure it will happen, it will be absolutely phenomenal. But just got to give these guys time that are doing these things in their own time for free for us to enjoy. And that's the end of the day. It's us that are going to get to enjoy these things. So just show a bit of patience, people, is what we're saying.
Yeah, and I mean, I can kind of relate to just a final thought from me, and I'll shut up. Is that the SHIRO magazine took the SHIRO magazine was a silly little project that Peter and I took on, and we had no idea what we were doing making a magazine. It took a lot longer than it should realistically take anybody, and like, it's funny, I see folks like the Sega powered, that they are able to churn out a good magazine in a month, right? And of course they have more staff and a lot more know-how, but they're able to do it, and I just really look up to folks like that. Whereas here I'm like struggling on my own with Peter and a few of folks in SHIRO to help out, and along the way I kind of shared early revisions of the magazine with a few folks, hoping to get them on board to help, like John Linneman, or Sega Lord X, a few individuals in the community. Like, I gave them early, I basically solicited help, and gave them early access to like a PDF, kind of a broken PDF version of what it would be, right? And I feel like had I been trying to get help for that, and then somebody was like, well, it's just taking you too damn long. We're going to just kind of put out what you sent me, in order to try to get help for it. That's how I would be feeling right now. If it was out there, I'd be like, oh crap, like, I've done so much more work and I didn't mean for it to get out there in that form. And, it's like, I was just doing my best, so I'm just saying, I'm empathizing in that way. I can kind of understand like how folks might feel about it. That's all. Whether or not people care, whether or not people feel like it's an issue or a non-issue, that's fine. But like, that's kind of where I'm sitting on it. Is I just think it's important to kind of be courteous and kind to people, and just like consider their feelings. If that's trite, or if that's just too much too much consideration, then okay, well, to each their own, but
yeah,
hey, we all love this console, man. It's just like, just celebrate the console, just enjoy games, share the experiences, and just be awesome to each other. It's that simple.
Yeah, and I think somebody mentioned before, and I'm noticing in the chat right now, the people that are watching the show that are a part of the community, it's not them. Like, I'm looking through this chat. I've seen zero of things like anybody that really, really deleted anything. Like, I don't think any of the mods deleted any of the messages. Everybody was fair and kind. Like, I think before, a lot of it's just anonymous people that are coming into the community and are just trying to have these arguments or these bad faith, like, anger reactions. And it's like, I just think it's sad, because it like we're looking at all the badness of it when it's only like a small percentage. But yeah, exactly. The mod said, "Mod take no action in the chat." So like, literally, all you guys are good. Like, everyone here that's watching it, probably even listening on the podcast, is good. It's just a shame that all this negativity has overcome over these people, and I think we need to not look at that, and we need to because I mean, there's fine arguments. Like, people can argue in the chat like about like which one they think is a better option, like what's the different aspects of it, what ones they prefer, the methodologies. You just don't get personal with it. That's the only issue we're having right now. Like, there's no one locking anything down. There's no like things. If you guys want to argue about it, you can. Just don't like get into like a fight of it or like yelling and causing issues. Like there's plenty of people that talked about it rationally, like we did, and on the Discord and the community. So guys,
the Greek definition of argument, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The debate, or sorry,
Debate.
open dialogue.
Like an open dialogue, yeah. It's like it just it just burns me out.
We're now in the month of the 30th anniversary of this great machine, so let's focus on that, shall we? Let's make that the focus going forward. The reason we're all here is because of this beautiful thing right here. This is why we're here, folks. This is why we're here. So
there's green screen out. I couldn't see it. I'm just joking.
How much you get that one for? How much you get that one for?
This was £19 plus fees and postage.
Wow.
So
hurry up. Somebody push up something dirty into his hands.
Not to mention you saved another Saturn from the chopping block.
That's
right?
it, mate. That's it. It's no AliExpress vendors will be near this. It's a protected species, mate. That's it. It's come to a loving home. It's like the Saturn version of Dogs Trust. They just adopted a Saturn. That's it. It's found its forever home. So
I'm glad you got one. It looks really good. Also update. Team Medusa actually just posted in the chat. Medusa team.
Mm-hmm.
So they said Princess Crown's not as difficult to translate as some people think. I definitely love to hear Paul Metz. Like, I'd love to hear what their thoughts on the situation are, and you know, like in a good way. Because Medusa team is really good. They worked on I think what people consider the definitive version of Symphony of the Nights, and a bunch of other really great fan translations. So, and patches.
Would it be easier? So like, you know how like all these different teams work on patches like themselves. Maybe it's 2 people, 3 people. What if like everybody what if a huge army of coders and translators worked together to bang out one game together? You know what I mean?
It doesn't quite work out that way.
It doesn't quite work out.
No,
well, of course
that's
you need delegation and leadership, but I guess you're right. But you know, it's one of those things though where in the SX Discord, when it comes to like homebrew and stuff like that, you'd have like XL2 giving a bunch of insight into coding skills and certain things, and folks would dialogue and you'd have like Ponut learning from that and stuff like that. It just seems like if there was more of a team effort, like a larger team effort, they could definitely, if teams were able to get stuff done back then under ridiculous deadlines, I imagine like larger teams would be able to do more in a shorter amount of time.
So specifically for patching, usually the case is not that, it's man hour is not the same thing as solving a specific reverse engineering problem. And the other thing is for original game type stuff. I think the closest thing to getting a big group project right now is Scenario. And the reality is that sometimes you can get a lot of help in one area and not enough help in another area, and that becomes a bottleneck. So really, it's less about throwing as many hands as you can, and rather the makeup of the community might not be able to fill the gaps to actually get the benefit of a large team that an actual studio might have.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Just laughing at Nick's comment there in the chat. A Dragon Force size army of patchers.
Yeah. Well, that I would say like the Bulk Slash team. Seeing what they were able to get accomplish in the amount of time that they were able to accomplish it is a monumental task, and they spare no expense. to coin the words of John Hammond, they put out a top tier product in less than a year working together, and they had a lot of hands on deck. So that's where I'm getting that analogy from, because I've seen it happen. But yeah, you do have like the bedroom coder, do it myself kind of thing. Knight, a lot of the stuff that he does is just one man army, and that seems to work fine.
Do you know what game I'd love to see translated? And it'd be Denture de Go X. I'd love
You
that
and your
ticket
train
transfer. I'm
controllers.
You got addicted with that train controller, right? I think Nick would agree with you.
On aboard.
Panaman's a huge fan of Densha.
Yeah, Michael, I stepped up
please.
my cam feed game, bro. I stepped it up. I stepped up my A game. And by A game, I mean I got on Dave's level. I was really stubborn about it. So Dave
what
set me right,
is,
though.
James, what is that little hole in the middle of the controller for? Right?
Oh, gosh.
Is that just for?
Apparently, it's for I thought it was a cup holder, but it's not big enough to fit like a can of juice. Apparently, it's for a clock. Or a timer.
Juice. Kind of iron brew.
Is it for a pocket watch?
Can of iron brew. It's for a watch.
That makes sense. That makes sense since train conductors use a pocket watch. Oh, okay.
Tried to put a can of iron brew in, and it was too small. I was like, see if it'd been like a can of iron brew holder size, man, it'd been absolutely outstanding.
So wait, was that something you had to get extra, or was it something that originally came with it and just kind of got lost in a lot of those?
It doesn't say on my box. It doesn't say that it comes with it, but on the illustration on the front of the box, it's still empty. But I did try and use it as a can holder.
Yeah,
like my wife was watching TV while I was playing it. Like that's how she was playing a new Call of Duty on the Xbox, and I had the Saturn set up on the gaming monitor, sitting to the side of the big TV, and I pulls out this train controller, and she just turned around after like half an hour of silence, hearing this ricketing noise of me pushing the lever up and the brake lever round and that. She's like, James, we've been like married 18 years. I never once had you down as a train spotter. I'm like, shush, I'm trying to stop the train.
He just released that movie Train Spotting.
Okay, so honest review. For somebody who doesn't own the train controller, where would you put it on list of essentials? Like, would you say that it's definitely you got to get it?
I think it breaks down to what country you're in. So if you're in the UK, it might be a little bit higher than in America.
Just get some ScotRail stickers for the side of it. That's it.
No, seriously though. Like, what do you think it's like twin stick level? Yeah, you got to have it.
It's not twin stick level in terms of you've got to have it, but if you're playing the game and you want the kind of authentic experience, I don't think you'd have anyone near as much fun with a controller playing it. It's just the thing is as well that the game obviously it punishes you by docking you like penalty points off of your total at the top. Mm-hmm. So it's like the amount of times like I forgot to put my obviously your kind of gears and your brake, and I forgot once I'd stopped the train by putting the emergency brake on, like to put my throttle back to 0. So the minute it started back up, it screams at you. It's like, your throttle's still on, and it's like deducts you like 5 or 10 points straight away. And I'm like, oh, for God's sake, sitting there like this train controller.
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to pick up a train controller. Sounds like a lot of fun.
It's stupidly addictive. It really is. It's like Tom Thumb's like full on experience. It has to be used right.
Now, can you play Fighters Mega Mix with it? That's what I want to know. Like,
I've not tried to play Sega Rally with it yet. That may be a video we can put up. See how long he's left. Choo choo.
I like that Panda said that without the controller it's a 6 out of 10, but with the controller it's a 13.5 out of 10.
Jesus,
nice.
It's so good. It's addictive as hell. Like I didn't even realize because I thought like this game's easy whenever I got the train to stop, like, and you'll see a little kind of on the bottom right corner, a little kind of grid comes up with like the track and then a stop line. You've got to stop right on that line. If you go over it, then you get penalised for going over it. And I was stopping, like, and my train was going down to like 0 kilometers per hour. So I just kind of put the throttle up a bit and took the brake back off and rolled it towards the line and then put the brake back on. I'm like, I've bossed this, man. This is easy. Slow down and just creep up to the line. Then you get to the summary screen and it docks you like 10 points for re-acceleration within the station. And I'm like, right, so you've got to literally bring it to a perfect stop, and that's when it gets addictive, and it's oddly satisfying whenever, like, Dan's sitting there going, James, man, what are you talking about? This is a train controller, man. But it's oddly satisfying.
I have a request. I have a Sega guy's request. Video covering games played with wrong controllers. Like all the weird peripherals and the games that you can play with them that don't don't immediately make sense. So like I don't know, the flight stick being used to play Daytona USA or something like that. That would be a good video. I'd watch that.
Alternative
honestly,
controllers.
Yeah, my favorite is the Dreamcast fishing controller. I know you can play some Soul Calibur with that.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild.
Here's one that I would
It's
recommend using that's different. For Rez, use the Dreamcast fight stick. It actually is really fun.
Oh yeah, yeah. Actually, it works better than I would have expected.
It feels like a DJ board too, so it's like you feel like you're a DJ too. So definitely
have any
play
other-
with that.
For some reason, I'm seeing that GIF with Shaq in my head now, Pat. It's like,
Oh yeah, where he's like,
Yeah,
you know,
that's me. Because like it's like you hit the buttons and it like does the different sounds and stuff for that. So it's really fun to do that. Like it feels like you're like at a DJ booth. And I remember I'd play the game with like my CRT with the lights all off with the fight stick in my hand, and it felt like I was DJing.
Do we have any more news that we need to talk about? It's like 4:21 right now.
I mean, we do, but I mean, I think the podcast is. I kind of figured we'd focus more on
just the Princess Crown.
the Princess Crown situation. Yeah.
I swear,
couldn't even
this
talk about it.
game this game has its own gravitational pull. It's its own its own atmosphere. It's like so bigger than the myth surrounding it. I would say.
Yeah,
No,
I guess
it's okay, guys. It's a good game. You should play it, but just don't. If you go in with this much, expectation,
you're gonna be
You're
disappointed.
likely to be disappointed. Is all I'm saying.
Go
Yeah.
if you were gonna play a Vanillaware game, just go play Odin Sphere or Dragon's Crown. You probably have
Or
more fun time.
Grimoire is also great. Yeah,
I'll agree to disagree.
No, not a fan. Odin Sphere is great. Yeah, but although it runs a little choppy on. Well, it's been remastered, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was choppy on PS2, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
but no. Yeah, I think it's on Vita and stuff like that too. So.
Mhm.
I mean, you have to get a Vita, so I don't recommend that to anybody. But yeah, I guess at the end of it, I said we forgot to mention also that EAD Master is still working on his version of it with a new translator. There's been ups and downs with that. There's been stuff that's been talked about. I think we wrote up an
Battle of
article
the
talking about that.
Patches.
I don't know. Yeah, basically talking about that. So, for better or worse, we have two fan translation patches. And we have these two versions. I just thought it'd be fair we just talk about EAD and just let him know that he has his version out. I know we didn't really talk about it much. I do apologize for not focusing on or talking on that point, but I think we just had a lot to cover. But I guess in a nutshell, there's the two versions. He's still working on it with his translator, and we'll just have to wait and see what the direction, what they do with their patch as it goes along. But you can read Nick's article he has right here, where he goes down and actually talks about EAD Master and the translator he's working with currently. Miyaku Gaming, I think is her name, I think, right? Miyaku Gaming. But yeah, and both of their stuff. So like there's definitely two patches now that you guys can work on. So I mean, yeah, and that's really all I wanted to finish up saying on that. Did y'all have any final thoughts before we close it out and did the whole Patreon shout outs?
I just
last
wonder
words?
what it would be like if he worked with them to get it done faster.
I feel like that's a foregone
That's
conclusion
kind of
at this point.
I think the ship has sailed on that, but I mean, I'm just saying it's what at some point they were asking for help, so had this gone a little differently, perhaps, but yeah, no. Play Rainbow Town.
By the way, there also is that one. I also want to bring up that apparently we got reached out to AM25. There's a flood in Spain. Flood happened in Spain. I don't know too many details on it, but essentially it's been devastating to his town and a lot of people around the country there in Spain. I imagine you could talk about it a little bit more. But we added the fundraiser for the Red Cross. We have it in the chat and in the video description for the if you want to donate money to the Red Cross and help out some people. And also Maliko's Rainbow Town that we'll talk more about tomorrow, and we'll actually play it on just tomorrow. Next week we'll talk about that on the next stream and talk about that and have more of a focus. There's a couple other articles on there. Like I said, I'd rather keep it for next week because it's going a bit long. But we definitely can talk about that and get back to our regular scheduled programming next week. But thank you guys for bearing with us and understanding that we had to sort of hack out this news.
Yeah. I love this community and I love the Saturn, and I think that Dan is and James, hit the nail on the head. It's, just let's focus on what's important. Let's focus on enjoying this console together, sharing our memories, being kind to one another, trying to have patience with one another too, because we all need it. I definitely need it, like a lot. I got a lot going on in my life too, and so I might be slow to get stuff out, and I appreciate all the patience folks can afford me, so really though, yeah, I mean, it's all about Saturn at the end of the day, and November is 30th anniversary of this console coming right up. So I know it's crazy.
Where's that
means
going?
We're all
Where's
very
that
old.
going? Yes, too old.
And our kids don't care. They're like, why do you keep playing that old thing?
Why do you love that shitty old black box under the TV?
Exactly. Now a gray one under the TV for you, right?
Yeah, I've got them set up, and I've got a kind of unit under the TV with 4 kind of little boxed off drawers, and I've got a Dreamcast in one, my PAL Saturn in one, Mega Drive at one end, and then the grey Saturn's going at the other end. So
you got your little
like
shrine,
spaghetti.
your little Saturn shrine.
That I'm running out of room in that, so it's just as well I've got another Saturn, because that means I've got another shrine to put more stuff into. My PAL Saturn's basically like living in amongst a SHIRO magazine, the issue 1 Sega Saturn magazine, VHS, Virtual On from the Twin Sticks package, Virtua Fighter Remix from the Netlink. I've got my Netlink sticker on the back of it. I've got Virtua Fighter trading cards, kind of wee stickers that are down there that Tom Thumb sent me. It's like I've just got so much. We got like PAL copies of Virtua Fighter 2, Sega Rally, and Virtua Fighter in there. It is like a shrine to the Saturn base in this little box, tiny little box, but we just love it so much, and I think that's why everything we've seen the last week kind of hit home a bit harder, because we do care that much about it. We put a lot of ourselves, and our time and our passion out there that we want people to enjoy and engage with and share that passion with us. So whenever you see people that you do care about, there's people that we work with that we've seen on the brunt of some of these things, and it's like there's people you care about, and you just don't want to see people getting subjected to that. So let's just focus on the console, focus on the games, appreciate the work these guys are doing, and just, as the show says, man, just play some goddamn Sega Saturn.
Play some Sega Saturn, and before we go to that
get
part,
your arms ripped off, which that's what Pat said. Get your arms ripped off.
Right off. But yeah, but before we go to that, I want to say thank you to our Patreons, our $10 supporters: Murder of Crows, Emerald Nova, who's here in the chat, Johannes Fetz, Sega Steve, Cerillion, Chris Piper, Chris 1997XX, Daniel Fredrickson, David Zaney, Derek Pasquarella, Evil 42, Fat Drunk Friend Otaku, Jim Clasher Rank, Jay Hersey, Lightning Production, Momphis, Noble Guy, Nutrageous, Robert Ramsey, Rowan Dinked, Stoneman, the Sega guys, who are also right here. Thank you very much for the support, fellas. And Young Money Sweet. If you guys want to get shouted on the show, you can back us at the $10 and up level. You get really cool perks. Even at the $3 and up level, you get stuff like early SHIRO show, early Sega Guys episodes, early Pandemonium videos, fan translation patches, betas that are being worked on by Malenko and others that would wish to share it with us. And yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff. And if you guys don't want to support, you can always join our Discord in the chat, as long as you play nice and don't argue with people, please. Please stop making my job hard, please, guys. But no, you can join that and discuss, and we're mostly friendly as long as the situation isn't happening. But we're always welcome. Always want to get people into it. We'll always answer questions and handle criticisms or any debates, friendly debates and open dialogues that you'd like to have on the Discord, as long as it's all friendly and it's all good. But yeah, I think with that is about it. I guess thank you guys, and remember, you must play Sega Saturn or your arms get
Play it.
ripped off
Play it.
by force.